I'd been hearing variations of this conversation for 6 years. 6 years since I'd walked across a stage in a too-big graduation gown, clutching my communications degree like it was a passport to somewhere real. 6 years since I'd told my family I wanted to create content, and watched my father crumple my first business plan, drop it into the kitchen trash, and say, "Stop embarrassing the family." 6 years since my mother began introducing me at dinner parties as our daughter who's still figuring things out. 6 years of quiet failure, at least in their eyes. My sister Jennifer had become a corporate lawyer at 25. She lived in a glass condo downtown, drove a silver Mercedes, and wore success like perfume, expensive, noticeable, and impossible to ignore. Marcus, my brother, worked in finance, bonuses, commissions, golf trips to the Hamptons, he spoke in numbers, and my father glowed every time he did. And then there was me, Mia, 29, still creating little YouTube videos from my one-bedroom apartment. What they didn't know, what they never cared to ask, was that those little videos reached 47 million subscribers, that my work had been streamed more than 8 billion times, and that my company quietly employed 70 people across 3 continents. I'd learned long ago that trying to explain it to them was like describing color to the blind. They saw ring lights and microphones, and assumed failure. They heard content creator and translated it to unemployed. So I stopped correcting them. Christmas dinner in Westchester was my annual reminder that I was still the family disappointment. Jennifer arrived first, her Mercedes gliding up the driveway like it belonged in a car commercial. She stepped out wearing a cream Chanel suit and carrying a bottle of wine that probably cost more than my rent. Marcus followed in his BMW, talking loudly into his AirPods about a 7-figure close. I came last, lugging a tote bag of homemade cookies from the city train station, one of those little traditions I kept for myself. Mom opened the door, smiling the way you smile when you see someone you love but wish were a little different. "Mia's here," she announced, tone sweet but laced with that familiar disappointment. Then, as if it were a reflex, still taking public transportation, "Sweetie? It's faster than driving," I said, holding out the cookies. "How thoughtful." She accepted the container, setting it aside immediately. Jennifer brought a Bordeaux from her firm's collection. It's a 2015, $400 a bottle. Of course she did. Jennifer breezed in from the living room, phone pressed to her ear. "Yes, Richard, the partnership meeting is confirmed for January. We'll close before Q2. She ended the call and air-kissed me. "Mia, still doing the YouTube thing?" "Still creating content," I said. "That's nice." The pause before nice hung in the air like a period on my entire life. "You know," she continued, "my firm is hiring administrative assistants, pays decent. I could put in a word, help you get back on track." "I appreciate that," I said softly, "but I'm good." Dad emerged from his study, Marcus behind him. "There's my girl," Dad said, pulling me into a hug. He smelled like cologne and old money, both a little overpowering. He looked me over, brow furrowing. "You look tired. Those late nights editing videos catching up with you?" "I'm fine, Dad." Marcus grinned, sliding his hands into his pockets. "At least she's doing something she loves, right? Even if it doesn't pay the bills." He laughed, like it was a harmless joke. I smiled faintly. I'd heard worse. Dinner was the same as every year, crystal glasses, gold flatware, my mother's perfect prime rib, and the unspoken hierarchy that sat between the wine glasses. Dad, at the head of the table, announced his new tradition. "Let's go around and share our wins from this year." Jennifer straightened. "I made junior partner, the youngest in the firm's history. My base is 340 now, plus bonuses. They're considering me for the corporate litigation team handling Fortune 500 clients." Pride flickered in Dad's eyes like candlelight. Mom actually teared up. Then Marcus closed the Henderson merger, too. 3 billion. My bonus was 180, and I'm up for VP next quarter. Applause. Cheers. Raised glasses. Then all eyes turned to me. I smiled politely. "I'm still creating content," I said. "My audience is growing." The silence was immediate. The air thickened. Dad set down his wine glass a little too hard. "Mia, we need to talk about your future." His voice was measured, but the irritation bled through. "You're almost 30. These YouTube videos, your little YouTube videos, they won't pay bills forever. When are you going to get serious? When are you going to grow up?" Mom nodded emphatically. "He's right. Look at your brother and sister, retirement accounts, insurance, career trajectories. You have a camera." Jennifer leaned forward, all faux concern and perfect lipstick. Mia, I say this because I love you. You're wasting your potential. Algorithms change. Trends fade. You're one click away from irrelevance. What happens when that happens? Marcus chuckled. Remember Kevin from high school? Tried to be an influencer. He's managing a GameStop now. I cut my prime ribbon to neat, silent pieces. I'd learned that silence was my armor. You know what hurts the most? Dad said, his voice lowering. We gave you everything, the best schools, every opportunity, and you throw it away to make videos 12-year-olds watch. Dad. No, let me finish. His fork clinked against the plate. Your mother and I have been talking. We think it's time for an intervention. This fantasy needs to end. I have a friend who owns a marketing firm. They need someone for social media. Real social media. Salary's $55,000 to start. It's not much, but it's a real job. My phone buzzed beside my plate. A new email. From Sarah Chin, Netflix original content. Subject, urgent deal confirmation preview. Before I could touch it, Jennifer gestured toward me. See? Can't even put it down during dinner. That's the problem with your generation, addicted to screens. I need to check this, I said quietly. No, Mom snapped. You need to listen. We're trying to help you. These internet companies will use you and dump you. Do you even have health insurance? A 401k? Any kind of stability? I opened the email anyway. Mia, the board approved everything. $50 million for 3 documentary series over 18 months, plus back-end participation in streaming revenue. The PR team wants to announce next week. Congratulations. I stared at the screen for a moment. The words blurred in the warm glow of the dining room chandelier. Then I looked up at my family, still lecturing, still concerned, still so certain they understood the world. I slipped my phone back into my bag. Thanks for dinner, I said, standing. It was wonderful, really. Mia, Mom said, confused. Where are you going? I've got a meeting in the morning, I said, with people who think my job is real. And with that, I kissed her cheek, thanked Dad, and walked out into the cold Westchester night, quietly smiling to myself as my inbox filled with congratulations from Netflix executives and brand partners. The train ride home was long, but I didn't mind. I'd take my public transportation, my homemade cookies, and my little YouTube videos over their glass towers any day. Your face will be on every entertainment outlet in the country. Sarah's voice buzzed through the speaker. We're talking cover of Variety, Hollywood Reporter interviews, Today Show appearances. I know you wanted to keep this quiet until after the holidays, but the trades got wind of it. Deadline is running the story in the morning. Just wanted you to hear it from me first. Congratulations, Mia. This is the biggest deal we've made with a creator this year. I set my phone down carefully beside my plate. The world had just shifted, but in my parents' dining room, the air was still heavy with roast beef and disapproval. Everything okay? Marcus asked, his grin lazy and sharp. Did one of your videos get 1,000 likes? Dad sighed, rubbing a hand over his face. Mia, please. His voice softened, almost pleading. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to save you from disappointment. You're smart, talented, but you're chasing something that isn't real. Content creation isn't a career, it's luck, and luck runs out. Jennifer reached across the table, her manicured hand brushing mine. We love you, she said gently. That's why we're being honest. It's not too late to start over. You could go back to school, get an MBA, build something stable. You're still young enough to recover from this mistake. Mistake? I repeated. My voice was soft, but it felt like the word cracked open the silence. Poor choice of words, Jennifer said quickly, but yes, it's time to join the real world. My phone buzzed again, then it began to ring, vibrating against the wood like a trapped heartbeat. I looked at the screen, Variety magazine. I declined the call, but the buzz continued. A text appeared. Variety, Mia, we'd love to talk about your Netflix deal. Can we schedule an interview for tomorrow? Then another. Forbes Entertainment, congratulations on the Netflix deal. We're running a feature on creator-driven content. Available for interview? Then Hollywood Reporter, then Entertainment Weekly. My phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Popular tonight, Marcus said with a smirk. Let me guess, your followers want to know what you're having for dinner. I unlocked the screen. 23 missed calls, 47 unread texts. All from entertainment journalists, industry reps, PR agencies. And then I saw it, an article headline glowing like a flare in the dark. Netflix signs mega deal with creator Mia Torres, $50 million for documentary series. Streaming giant makes biggest creator deal of the year, betting on Torres's 47 million subscriber empire. I turned my phone around and placed it in the center of the table. Dad leaned forward, squinting. That's your name, he whispered. Mom reached for it, her hand trembling. This can't be real, it's fake. Someone's playing a prank. Jennifer took the phone, her lawyer's eyes scanning fast. It's Deadline, that's legitimate, they don't post false stories. Marcus was already typing on his own phone, his jaw tightening. Holy, it's everywhere. Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Forbes, all running the same story. He looked up, eyes wide. You signed a deal with Netflix? For $50 million? The deal closed yesterday, I said evenly. They plan to announce next week. Looks like someone leaked early. The table fell into stunned silence. The only sound was the faint ticking of Mom's heirloom wall clock. Mom finally spoke, voice barely a whisper. But, you make YouTube videos. How could that? I don't just make YouTube videos, Mom. I set my fork down. I run a media company. I have 47 million subscribers across 3 platforms, over 8 billion total views. The business generates around 30 million in annual revenue through advertising, sponsorships, and licensing deals. Netflix approached me 6 months ago for a documentary partnership. Jennifer's face had gone pale. 30 million in annual revenue? Give or take, depending on the quarter, I said. Last year was 34. This year will probably hit 38 before Netflix even kicks in. Dad's hand shook. But you live in that tiny apartment. You take the train. I live modestly because I reinvest most of my income. I employ 17 people, producers, editors, researchers, business managers. The apartment is a studio space. My actual home is in Brooklyn. Marcus whistled under his breath. Jesus, they're calling you the future of entertainment. Forbes lists you as one of the top-earning creators under 30. My phone rang again. I answered this time. Mia Torres. Mia, it's Sarah from Netflix. Her voice was bright, urgent. Sorry to interrupt dinner, but the response has been incredible. 3 more production companies reached out in the last hour. Disney+, HBO Max, Apple. Everyone wants a meeting. You're trending worldwide on Twitter. Good Morning America and Today both requested interviews for next week. I could feel my family's eyes fixed on me, every word slicing through the air like glass. That's great news, Sarah, I said calmly. Let's connect tomorrow. I'm with family right now. Of course, Mia, congratulations. You've earned this. I ended the call. The silence was absolute. Jennifer spoke first. You have 17 employees? 18 next month. We're bringing on a cinematographer. And you profit, what did you say, 20 million? Roughly, after expenses, salaries, and reinvestment. Mom laughed shakily, pressing a hand to her chest. 20 million, from YouTube? From a media company, I corrected gently. Distribution happens to be digital. Dad's face was unreadable, somewhere between pride and devastation. This article says universities use your documentaries in their curriculum, that you've won awards. The climate series won a Webby last year, I said. We also license educational content. Marcus had gone quiet, scrolling endlessly. Your last video has 31 million views. That's more than most cable shows. Jennifer blinked hard, the math spinning behind her eyes. If your revenue's that high with a staff that small, your margins are better than most corporations. That's staggering. Low overhead, I said simply. No legacy infrastructure, just creative freedom. Mom's wine glass slipped from her hand, spilling scarlet across the white tablecloth. She didn't even notice. All this time, we thought. You thought I was failing, I said. You thought I was lost. Dad's voice cracked. Why didn't you tell us? I tried, I said softly. When I had a business plan, you threw it away. When I reached 1 million subscribers, you said you were too busy. When I won my first award, you told me to grow up. So eventually, I stopped trying. Jennifer's phone buzzed. She looked down, color draining from her face. My firm's senior partners just texted me. They saw the article. They want to know if you're the Mia Torres, my sister. They're asking for an introduction. To represent me? I asked. Yes, she said weakly. To represent you. Marcus let out a half laugh, half groan. They're estimating your net worth at 60 million. That's mostly equity, I said. Liquid assets are closer to 15. Dad set his fork down, staring at nothing. 15 million, You have $15 million, and I've been telling people you're unemployed. You weren't interested in the truth, I said quietly, only in being right. Mom rose suddenly, her chair scraping. I need a minute. She hurried out of the room. I heard her crying softly in the kitchen. I didn't move. For the first time in years, I felt weightless, unburdened. Jennifer exhaled shakily. The assistant job I offered you, she said, that would have been a $280,000 pay cut from your base salary. I smiled faintly. You made assumptions. You all did. Dad covered his face with one hand. I pitied you. I told people you were still finding yourself. I made excuses. I know, I said, and I let you, because I didn't need your approval to succeed. Marcus laughed bitterly. She's giving a TED talk while annihilating us. I ignored him. Success doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to be proven. I knew what I was building. I didn't need anyone else to believe in it. My phone buzzed again. Forbes, this time, asking for an exclusive. I silenced it. The Netflix deal doesn't validate my work, I said quietly. It just confirms what I already knew, that what I built was real. Jennifer leaned back, dazed. And now? Now? I smiled. Now, I eat my dinner. And for the first time in 6 years, I did, slowly, calmly, while my family sat in silence, processing the reality that the girl they'd written off had just become one of the most powerful creators in the world. They hadn't diminished me, they'd only made what I'd built more visible. Jennifer's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. She checked it, color draining from her face. My managing partner wants to take you to dinner. The head of our entertainment division wants to discuss representation. Mia, I didn't even know you had representation. CAA signed me 4 years ago. Marcus blinked. CAA? As in movie star CAA? They represent talent across industries, I said mildly, digital included. He looked like he might faint. Mom returned to the table, eyes red, cheeks blotched from crying. She sat heavily, staring at me as though she were seeing a stranger who somehow looked like her daughter. You decorated those cookies yourself, she said quietly. You brought them on the train because you thought we'd enjoy them. After everything we said, every comparison, every dismissal, you still brought homemade cookies. I like baking, I said. It relaxes me. You're a millionaire many times over, she whispered, and you brought cookies to Christmas dinner. Yes. Her tears came again, but softer this time. I'm a terrible mother. No, I said. You're a mother who loves her children and wanted the best for them. You just had a blind spot about what best looked like for me. Dad's phone rang. Reflexively, he answered. Yes, this is Robert Torres. Who? Entertainment Tonight? No, I don't have a comment. My daughter's career is her own. No, we're not giving interviews. Thank you. He hung up slowly, then looked at me. They want to interview the family, your family. They'll want a lot of things, I said. If you don't want to be part of the circus, don't engage. Jennifer was typing furiously. I'm canceling drinks with my colleagues tomorrow. I told them I had family plans, but I was actually going to discuss your situation with them. God, I'm a horrible sister. You're human, I said. Humans make mistakes. Stop being so calm, she snapped. We deserve your anger. We've been awful for years. What would anger do? It can't rewrite the past. Marcus rubbed his temples. This is surreal. This morning, I thought I was the successful sibling. Now I realize you make more in a month than I make in a year. Success isn't a competition, Marcus. He gave a weak laugh. Easy to say when you've already won. My phone buzzed again. Sarah from Netflix. By the way, your follower count just jumped 2 million in the last hour. The announcement's driving massive traffic. Congratulations. I showed them the message. 2 million new subscribers since dinner started. Dad made a choking sound. How is that even possible? Network effects, I explained. News coverage boosts curiosity. Curiosity fuels engagement. The algorithm amplifies it. It's exponential. Mom blinked. You sound like you're explaining rocket science. It's not that different. Both rely on understanding systems and predicting trajectories. The doorbell rang. Dad went to answer it, and through the archway I saw the flash of a camera, the glint of a microphone. He came back pale. There's a reporter outside from the local news. They want to interview you. How did they get our address? Public records. You're still listed as our daughter on a few documents. Outside, more vans pulled up, satellite dishes swiveling toward the house. Jennifer pressed a hand to her chest. This is actually insane. My phone rang again. David, my business manager. Mia, where are you? At my parents' place in Westchester. You need to leave. Crews are converging on the location. I'm sending a car, 15 minutes. Don't go outside. Don't talk to anyone. And make sure your family stays quiet. Understood. I ended the call and looked around the table. Turn off your phones. Delete social apps for a few days. People are already digging into our background. Some of it will be flattering. Most of it won't. Don't read it. Marcus ignored me and opened Twitter anyway. Within seconds his face went gray. They're posting about us, threads about families who dismissed creators. They found Dad's LinkedIn. They're roasting him. Marcus, turn it off. He kept scrolling. Someone pulled Jennifer's bio from her firm's website. They're comparing her salary to yours. Turn it off. He finally did. The doorbell rang again, long, insistent. Don't answer, I said. My car's almost here. I'll go out the back. Stay inside until morning. This will calm down soon. Mom's voice trembled. What should we do? Nothing. No statements. No apologies. No opportunistic interviews. Just, be quiet. Dad rose slowly, walked to me, and stopped beside my chair. He didn't hug me, just stood there, looking down at me like he was trying to memorize my face. I'm proud of you, he said at last. His voice broke. I should have said it 6 years ago. I should have said it every day since. Thank you, I said. That's all? Just thank you? What else is there to say, Dad? He gave a small, rueful laugh. I expected you to be angrier. I was, I said, for a long time, but while you thought I was wasting my life, I was building something I loved. The anger burned out years ago. What's left is sadness that you missed it. Jennifer stood abruptly. I can't sit here and be forgiven like this. We don't deserve your grace. Maybe not, I said, but grace isn't about deserving. My phone vibrated again. David's text. Car's here. Back entrance. Move now. I rose and put on my coat. I need to go. Stay inside tonight. Tomorrow, the storm passes. Mom caught my arm. When can we see you again? When you're ready to see me as I am, I said softly. Not as you wish I'd been. I walked toward the back of the house. Behind me came the muffled chaos, Jennifer crying, Marcus cursing, Dad trying to reason with the reporters pounding at the door. Outside, a black SUV idled in the alley. David waited, holding the door open. You okay? He asked as I climbed in. I'm fine. That was brutal. They really had no clue. None. How do you feel? As the SUV pulled away, cameras flashing in the distance, I looked out the tinted window at the house fading behind me. Lighter, I said, like I finally set something heavy down. My phone kept buzzing, network execs, creators, journalists, but I silenced it and watched the snowy suburbs slide past. Tomorrow there would be talk shows and interviews, headlines and hashtags. Next week, production would start on the documentaries. Next month, more offers. But tonight, I was just Mia, the daughter who'd finally been seen. The creator who'd built an empire in silence. The woman who'd brought homemade cookies to Christmas dinner because she liked baking, and because she still believed her family might enjoy them. The recognition felt good, but the real victory had happened long before, the day I chose to build something meaningful even when no one believed in it. Everything after that was just noise. My phone lit up one last time. A text from Mom. I love you. I'm sorry. I hope someday you can forgive me. I typed back. Already have. See you soon, Mom. Then I leaned back against the seat, closed my eyes, and for the first time in 6 years, I felt entirely at peace.